So
I can't see anything.
just an elf on a shelf. Nothing to worry about. So let's get into it, shall we? FPL wise. So this week you scored 54 points, didn't you, in the game
Yes,
week?
I did.
You,
And that was with three Villa and Newcastle players in.
yeah, missing out postponement on the game. I've got it on screen saying who's postponed. Wilson and Grealish postponed.
Yeah,
And
Wilson Grealish, and I managed to move Mings out, I think.
oh, nice one. That's cool then. And I like your captaincy choice. Very out there. Very brave, but it came off for you. Zuma.
It did.
What a beast of a defender he is. He's so reliable. I had him as well. But to captain him, awesome. Take a bow.
He's had really decent points the past couple of weeks. And I knew they weren't playing, like a massive team. So I thought I'm just gonna put him in there again, put him on captain, and it paid off really. So
no, fair play. Those are the sort of punts we love in FPL. Absolutely awesome. And then you also had Sonny in there, 13 points. Fernandez on a 6, who came on the second half and got them points as well.
yeah,
So I bet that was a big relief, wasn't it?
it was, because I was fuming before the game. I was like, oh, I've put him in and they haven't even started him, because I did originally have Mane there. In that sort of section, and he was getting rubbish points. He was getting like 1 or like 3, like he just wasn't doing anything. So I thought, I'm gonna put someone in there who like is pretty much guaranteed assists and goals. So I was like, I'm just gonna, even if it is a penalty, so I'm just gonna put him in there. So I did, and then he didn't start, and I thought, oh, what a nightmare. But luckily he came on second half and still got 6, so it wasn't too bad.
Awesome move there. Yeah, Fernandez looks pretty much go-to. He's just like, literally, they're saying that United is a one-man team at the moment because of him.
Yeah, well, they're pretty much right, to be honest. He's the only one really doing anything, to be fair. So, yeah.
Yeah, guaranteed points. And then switch from Mane. I used to love owning Mane. I think I got a hat-trick on him last season, but he's not quite consistent enough. Like,
Yeah,
Salah
no,
would
he's
be.
not.
Someone like Salah and possibly now Jota, who
Yeah.
heads up, I've brought him in this game week because I can't afford Salah. So I actually went Jota to try and get in on them points. And then you had Vardy and Werner up top. Vardy on 8, Werner on 5. And Wilson was the postponement.
Yeah,
Grealish
Wilson
and Mitchell.
didn't.
Obviously, haven't got your subs on the screen, but 54 points considering that postponements and that isn't too bad at all, really. That's quite good.
It's not. It's all right. It's pretty much been around about like between 55 and 65 like this whole season. And like honestly, some game weeks I've just thought I'm just not going to look at it anymore for the rest of the season because I'm sick of it. Like I always think I'm doing the right thing and like bring someone in and then they get injured or like whatever. So it's just been a nightmare. But it's all right. It's my first time playing it properly, so it hasn't been too bad this year.
No, that's awesome. I was the same a couple of seasons ago. Didn't really play it properly. Just doing other things, forgot. But this time now, these past 2 seasons, absolutely dedicated to it. Love it. And that's why I've got a channel for it. So just a quick hi to Nuclear Atoms in the chat. Sean FPL, nice to see you here, guys. Any questions, get them in the chat. Nuclear Atoms just saying, almost forgot about the stream because I was so focused about the Real Madrid match tonight. We love Madrid. Oh dear. So
yes, well, I'm rival. I'm a rival of their fan. I'm a fan of their rival, Atletico Madrid. So that's on at 8. So I'll be watching that as well.
I see you posting a lot about Atletico Madrid, Felix and players like that.
Love João Felix. I wasn't sold on him at first when we first bought him, and I thought, God, that's a lot of money for him to be wasted because he was wasted for a lot of the season. He had like 3 longish term injuries, 6 weeks plus. So it was just a bit of a nightmare. But he's coming into his own this year. I'm so glad for him. I really, really, really rate him now.
Hello guys, Mig Tavis joining us in FPL Tips. Thanks for joining us as well. Yeah, so I suppose as a Geordie, Newcastle supporter as well, you probably went to Spain and went for red and white stripe. No, red and blue. Well, actually, red, blue, and
Well, yeah,
white,
it is
aren't
red and
they?
white. I know everyone's always like, oh my God, I can't believe you support a team with red and white. But I do have a reason for it. It's because when I was 9, I went on holiday and my granddad and brother and me went to, it was an Atletico Madrid reserves game, actually. No, it wasn't. It was a friendly. It was Barcelona reserves against Atletico Madrid.
Wow, that's good.
And yeah, I fell in love with an 20-year-old Fernando Torres and followed them ever since, with and without him. So that is why. So that's like 14 years ago now.
Wow, what a journey. And that would have been a game, because I know like Barcelona reserves are always good. Quality talent always comes through there. That must have been a pretty good game.
It was. I can't remember much of it. I was only 9, but like I just remember Torres and I just loved him ever since, and then followed him from that point.
Okay, cool. So, shall we answer a few questions in the chat before we crack on with the fixtures? Let's see. First question. It's always scanning down, isn't it, and not missing any. Do you think Salah will play at the weekend? Has he just scored, by the way, for Liverpool, Salah? I think he's just scored, hasn't he?
Oh, has he? I don't know. It's Champions League, isn't it, tonight? I'm not watching it, so I don't know.
No, I actually have the One Football app, and it only shows me the Europa League games on there. I don't know why. Probably because I'm an Arsenal fan. It's like, that's all you're allowed to see. You know, the Champions League, you're not welcome there. Don't get me started on that. Random Junkie
I was going to say,
says...
John, that'll be a whole different conversation.
Yep, totally. Absolutely. Not the kind of conversation I want to be having at the moment, but there you go. Random Junkie saying Bruno and Grealish or KDB and Jota? That's a question. Bruno and Grealish, KDB and Jota.
Early on in the season, I would have obviously said, was it Grealish and did he say Grealish and Bruno and Grealish? Because KDB wasn't up to his standards at that point.
No, true.
And Jota hadn't fully come into the Liverpool side. But I mean, right now, even though I haven't got them in my team, but yeah, I think KDB's great. He got like unreal points at the weekend, alongside Sterling. I think a lot of people had captained KDB, as I was seeing. And yeah, Jota's pretty much, if he plays, he's pretty much guaranteed an assist and a goal. So yeah.
Yeah, and considering he hadn't played all the full minutes, he was still getting all them points. He looks really quite a player to have. Well, that's why I've got him now. And it's my only way to try and kind of match them Salah points. So, yeah, I'd agree with that, really. But Bruno ticked over. And then Grealish can blow hot and cold. I think he got a little loss without Barkley and then found his feet again. But
yeah,
I think he can be sort of a on and off player, Grealish. But he is quality. Yeah. He is good. Tom joining us in the chat. Thanks for joining us, Tom. Do you think triple up of KDB, Bruno and Salah is the way to go? I've seen a few teams doing it, but it obviously leaves you lighter budget-wise in your defence or your strikers.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on that if you had the 3 big hitters in your FPL team?
I think if obviously you're guaranteed points, it just completely depends, doesn't it? Because loads of teams this season have been just so inconsistent. I think Liverpool are back on their form now, so, you know, Salah's pretty much guaranteed points. Yeah, I don't really know, because I mean, my defence, apart from Kurt Zouma, doesn't get a lot of points either way, really. It mostly does come from like my midfield and the strikers, so it could work. You never know. I mean, having them in your team, you're not gonna really lose points most of the time, are you? So it could be a way to go. Who knows?
I suppose so. And with big hitters, if you're using the armband, you just look at the fixture, and I suppose they'd always constantly get you that big score. You could just switch between whichever fixture favours whoever on the day.
Yeah,
and
true.
Apparently Salah has scored, says Harry. 1-0 he scored. 1-0 to Liverpool. I think they're playing, is it Michelin? Someone like that?
Yeah.
Sean says you have to follow the Champions League to get the alerts. Oh, right. Well, I best not. Not tell. God knows how many see. I mean, you're an Arsenal fan as well, Sean, so you know why. But you shouldn't be peeking at that either, buddy. Who finishes higher in the table? Newcastle or Arsenal? That's a serious question now.
It's a serious question at the moment.
Yeah.
I think, to be fair, I think Arsenal do business in January. In my opinion, I think they will. If things continue. So we never really do much business in January. I mean, we brought in Almiron in January, and that's as far as we've really done. We brought in a couple of loan signings last season, like Danny Rose and Bentaleb and things like that. But other than that, we don't really do business in January too much. So I'm probably going to say Arsenal if they do business in January, because we won't.
Yeah, it's a tough window for any club as well. Never much going on, but I tell you what, Arsenal definitely need it. But I don't see them going and getting any big signings. I literally think they might pick some Premier League players. I literally small transfers kind of thing. But we'll see. That's for the budget with those three, says Mig. Yeah. Big bucks. I have Salah, Son, Kane, Vardy currently. Right, we've caught up with the chat. I love it when you catch up with the chat. Right, time to get into fixtures. So, Leeds versus West Ham on Friday, 8 o'clock kickoff. Do you think that Bamford can carry on his goal-scoring form against what is quite a good Hammers defence? But they did lose to Man United. Man United really did, but I think they put about 3 past them, didn't they?
Yeah.
Do you think Leeds could win that one, or?
Yes, I think they can if they continue, because the problem is with Leeds, they're having a lot of shots. I think there was some ridiculous stat, like they had 87 shots in 4 games, but the goals aren't coming off as much as their shots are. So obviously their conversion rate's pretty poor. And they've been really inconsistent over the past couple of games. So, but if they can keep on form, because I mean they weren't bad at the weekend either. So yeah, if they can keep on form, I think they'll probably do it. Especially with West Ham coming off the back of a loss like that, they just didn't really do anything at all. West Ham really. So yeah, I think Leeds would probably take that one. Well, I've got like a picks app for the scores, and I've put Leeds on. So.
Yeah, no, I don't. I think they're probably just about to do it, and I'm not too sure if Antonio's fully fit yet. But I'm sure he didn't play last game, did he? So
no, he didn't.
He's really key for it. I don't think Haller does the same job for him, does it? Doesn't give him that pace, basically.
No, it doesn't. No.
So moving on to Saturday's fixtures, starting off with Wolves and Aston Villa. Will Villa's fresh legs be the one to do Wolves after they've come off the back of a 4-0 drumming from Liverpool? Do you think?
Yeah, I don't know what went on with them at the weekend. I was so shocked because they've been a decent side for the past 2 seasons, I would say. Decent top half side, so I was really shocked that they crumbled like that. I just don't know what's going on with them. Aston Villa obviously had the breaks. They didn't play us at the weekend. And if they've got players back who they need back, obviously Grealish, I don't know if Barkley's back or what. I'm not entirely sure. But if they've got a full strength squad out and they've got Ollie Watkins and things, I think they'll be fine. I think Aston Villa could probably take it, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think their morale will be a bit low. Fresh legs, ready to do. And I think, like Lambert, when he had that time to do his homework, he'd done it on Napoli and made him more of a defensive unit. Instantly, we saw how good Villa came out against Liverpool as well, hammering them. And then I think because he's had this little break and regroup with his team, I fancy him to get the best out of them again. And I think Wolves are in for it against Villa.
Yeah.
Watkins looks like a good young player, doesn't he, as well?
He looks brilliant. He's set it on fire this year. It's a good, first Premier League club. So yeah, really, really good.
So next up, Newcastle versus West Brom. Now I think you know a thing or two about Newcastle. So how do you feel about going against this West Brom side?
See, the problem is with Newcastle, it's the lower teams that we struggle against for some odd reason. I don't know why, but we always just make things difficult for ourselves. However, as we've just gone on from Aston Villa, we've got fresh legs. I know a couple of the players are still out with COVID, as far as I'm aware. We are not aware of who it is out with COVID. I think it's Hayden. I don't know who else now off the top of my head, but definitely Hayden was out. But I don't know if that's over with now. Isolation's over with. But if we've got Wilson back, I think Shelby will probably skip into the squad again if Hayden's out. If we've got him and we go in for attack and football, I think we'll be absolutely fine. West Brom only got their first win of the season. What was it? Not last weekend, the weekend before. Yeah. So I think fingers crossed will be fine. But as I say, Newcastle like to make the easiest games difficult, so I wouldn't be surprised if it was a boring draw.
I just remembered West Brom had Pereira get that red card, didn't they? And he's quite a sort of flair player for them. But I think that won't take away from them being so stubborn. But they just don't look great at the moment. I don't know what's going on with them. I don't know what they've got to change, because they've got a couple of decent players in there, that can score goals, like Callum Robinson and things. Like, he was scoring goals for his country and stuff over the summer. So I don't know. It's a funny one. Yeah, Diagana as well is a good player, but just don't seem to be performing, do they? Not ticking.
No.
And then it is the big Manchester derby, Man United v Man City. Oh my, where do you start there? I suppose we could look at, do you go Bruno Fernandes or do you go KDB? Who do you see winning? Who's going to get more points, Fernandes or KDB?
I think probably, as I keep saying, like, the league has been so inconsistent and so weird this year.
God, has it?
And obviously Man United had that terrible game yesterday. The result doesn't necessarily say it was terrible, but Pogba's goal was great, and then they had a penalty, so they struggled against Leipzig yesterday. At the moment, they're just a sort of club in despair. I think Man City are going to take it. They've had a couple of really good games. Look, KDB looks back to his old self, and when he's his old self, he's the best midfielder in the league, in my opinion. So I think it'll probably. I say Man City, but I think it is going to be a tight game, despite what a lot of people probably think.
Yeah, I'd say Man City as well, but always a tight game in a way. I think Man City's starting to play football a lot better now, passing the ball about. KDB looked very dangerous. I captained him, thank God. But he could have had more points. The other interesting thing is how Fernandes did come on in the second half, and I was sitting there, I was like, he's come on. I was like, you just know it now. You know all the people that
you know what's going to happen. They're like comeback kings at the moment.
So, wow, what if they both go for it? That's going to be a good game.
Could be a good game.
I'm gonna favour City though, returning to their form, just to outdo them that bit.
Yeah.
And then we go on to Everton and Chelsea. So Chelsea playing all right. Ziyech got injured, didn't he? I think they got Pulisic coming back into the team now.
He scored us out at the weekend, didn't he? So he's looking all right still at the moment.
Yeah, and Mr. Giroud, God, forget that player, but he's doing all right, isn't he, at Chelsea?
I love him. He's so underrated for me. Like, if you need him to score goals, he'll always do a job for you. He's massively underrated to me. I think he's brilliant.
I think so too. He's very much an aerial target, one you put the ball in the box to all day long. And the good thing about him is he can finish with his feet as well. Whereas a lot of players like that are not that good, but he's got it all in a way.
Yeah, he does.
I think, like you say, massively underrated for sure. Everton, DCL, he's in some fine form. He's chasing that golden boot, isn't he, this season?
Yeah, he is. And it's funny because, he's not in, they're not doing that well. Like, they're doing okay. They kicked off really well. Like, the first 4 games, I thought, oh my God, these really have a chance of, like, top 4. But they've dropped off because they had loads of injuries, like James and Richarlison and Digne were all injured. So it was, like, really bad, and they lost their form, but I think they'll be all right now because everyone's pretty much back, I think. the majority anyway. So, but I still think Chelsea will, they're in really good form. They've got really good goal scorers. Their squad depth is immense in most positions, so I think they'll be fine.
The chat loving the Giroud. They're like, Giroud aged like a fine wine, and no player in the world better at finishing in the front post than Giroud. But yeah, back to Everton. I think early on, James was on fire. I managed to get on those points. Got that injury. I'm sure it was an injury. And then since he's come back, he's not finding that form or the points again.
No.
Then Richarlison came back. He started to help out DCL more. But I think Everton need to find James playing a bit better, don't they?
Yeah.
Digne as well. I think he got the red card, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
So they need him even from that sort of point of view of attacking and putting the pressure on up the top. But I go with a Chelsea win as well. Yeah. Absolutely. Wonder if Pulisic will start that one, whether he's 100% ready to be doing 90 minutes. That'll be interesting. I think FPL tips in the chat would know that. Everybody, make sure you go and check out Kendall Rowan on Twitter. She's got a YouTube channel as well if you like all things Newcastle and obviously Atletico Madrid. Go and check her out. Moving on to Sunday's game. So Southampton and Sheffield United. Danny Ings is back, isn't he?
Yeah, I can't see that being anything other than a Southampton win, if I'm honest. Sheffield United just look dreadful. Really, really, really dreadful. They've got second season syndrome. I don't know what's happened to them. They playing the way that we thought they were going to last season, and they shocked everybody. But now second season syndrome's kicked in hugely, and they look really bad. I think they're just going to get relegated. I don't think they'll even kick on for me, if I'm honest.
No, there's none of that Lord Lundstram magic or anything. He's gone as well. It's like as if they're just not themselves. Second season syndrome, as you say. Definitely Southampton win there. Southampton even looking better defensively. I know of late they've conceded goals, but they look all round a lot better. Hassan Hüttel's got them playing better football for sure.
Yeah.
And then, here's one. Crystal Palace versus Spurs. So, obviously, Son, Kane, they're on absolute fire this season.
Yeah.
Hate to say it, but as an FPL player, I have been owning them. I've been getting in on their points, loving it. As an Arsenal fan, awful. Absolutely awful. Divided opinion.
It's not good to see that this season for you guys.
No, absolutely not. Palace, it goes back to the Bruno Fernandes one-man team thing with Wilfie Zaha. He really gets them ticking. Proved that last game. He's the one that scores for them. That would be an interesting game, though. But, will Spurs be more on the front foot against Palace, or will they still adopt that counter-attacking game Mourinho seems to like to play? What do you think?
I think if Zaha's playing, they're gonna know that he's a threat. And the problem is with Crystal Palace, if Zaha's playing, it depends if Benteke starts. I mean, to be fair, he did score 2 as well at the weekend.
Yes, good point.
But if Zaha's playing and you are a counter-attacking team, you can kind of eliminate the threat pretty well because obviously Zaha is their main threat. I think Spurs will be fine. They're on really good form. Is there any Europa League games this week?
There should be, yeah.
Yeah. So, they maybe, I don't know, maybe they're tired. I don't know, but I think, I can't really see it being anything other than Spurs, but this whole season has just been a complete anomaly. There's been random results all over the place, so I wouldn't be surprised if Crystal Palace set up again with Benteke and Zaha and go for it. I wouldn't be surprised, but I think Spurs will take it.
Yeah, I think Spurs, they've got to on the kind of form that we do have, which is crazy form. Like you said, very unpredictable season. Another thing to take into account, I think, is how fans are starting to come back into stadiums as well.
Yeah.
Swinging the home advantage ever so slightly by 2,000 and then however many more they up it by. Is that going to throw the season off balance again? And again, making results so hard to predict.
Yeah, I do agree with you because there's a lot of teams. For example, Newcastle. So Newcastle's home advantage with fans in when they're on, when they're in a good mood, when they're positive, is huge. And for us to be, we're in the Tier 3 area right now, the same as both obviously Manchester teams, Sheffield United, Leicester, Leeds. We're all in Tier 3, so we're not going to have that. We're not going to have those fans at all this season. Well, for the time being. So I think it is going to be unfair, and it is going to be difficult to play in front of fans, knowing that your fans can't go to the games. I think that's tough, especially obviously when you're away, and it's harder, and you're going to have just home fans in. I think the ideal scenario for everybody would have been, no fans until everyone is, or if you're a Premier League club, you're allowed fans in. I think that would be the best ideal scenario for everybody, but they're not going to do that. So, yeah, it is pretty unfair, and obviously it's controversial, but this year has just been full of that. So I'm not surprised, and I must admit, I do understand it from a lower league point of view. You don't want another Bury, and you don't want another Macclesfield or whoever is going into administration. Yeah. But again, you can sort of link it with that because those grounds aren't going to get anyone in either. Like teams in the north who haven't got, are in Tier 3, so they're not going to get it in. So it's a bit of a funny one. I don't think you probably could have won in any situation, really.
Kind of makes the home advantage even more, doesn't it, now? Not having that at all.
100%.
Migtavius in the chat, who's an avid Palace fan. Eagles, he says. Nuclear saying Zaha made Benteke get a haul. What was that all about? I don't know where Benteke disappeared to from all them Aston Villa years ago. He was an absolute beast up front. It's just like Emil Heskey, that sort of powerful forward. You couldn't stop him. And now I think with them couple of goals under his belt, he might be finding his form again. You never know, but we'll keep an eye on that one.
Weirder things have happened this year, so I wouldn't be surprised.
Absolutely, yeah. Stick that one in there as well. Eze is on my FPL draft team. I really rated him. Mig saying, showed how well they can look as an attacking threat, definitely. Palace are weak on the right side, so Son could be better captain option than Salah this week. Interesting tactics, mate. I think is Serge Aurier missing for Tottenham as well against Palace, so that would be interesting if let's Eze or Zaha attack that side more.
Yeah. I think Regulon will be on the other side, won't he? And he's looked really, really, really decent for them. So
he's really good in possession.
If there's going to be an issue, it'll be down that side if Aurier's not fit.
He's got some pace on him, that Regulon as well.
He does, yeah.
Here's one that a lot of FPL managers will turn their attention to for points when they look at the fixtures. It's Fulham versus Liverpool. So Liverpool going away to Fulham, and I know Fulham have started to dig in a bit with Scott Parker and that, but Liverpool, I have to credit Liverpool for, even though all the injuries that they've had, they've carried on. They've shown great character, haven't they, really?
They've looked decent either way. I mean, the game at the weekend against Wolves, they looked brilliant. And there's players who I would never have rated before, like Nico Williams, for example. Their goalkeeper, that Kelleher, had a brilliant game. He looked so good. What a debut that was. Someone said he made his Premier League debut and his Champions League debut or whatever in 1 week. So, he had a really, really good Premier League debut. He looked brilliant. On a show I do on a Sunday, when we round ball of football, we put him in now team of the week. So yeah, they're looking really, really, really strong. And I would have said with their inconsistent results that they weren't going to challenge for the title this season, but they are. I think they're going to be up there again.
I think I was absolutely livid last game because I actually kept Podence, starting to find form, got a goal the other week, but against Liverpool, that Keller goal, Podence done a cheeky little chip, finesse chip, and he tipped it over the bar. He was going, and then he just tipped it. I was like, that's a quality save, but I was like, I need them points, lad. No way. And then I think Salah captain is going to be happy. I'm hoping Jota can get in on the points. Fulham obviously going to sit back, aren't they, as best they can.
Yeah.
But if you do that against Liverpool with Trent back and Robertson, who I think Robertson's looked really good going down that side. He's been, without Trent, a real focal point.
Yeah, he has, yeah.
So it's got to be a Liverpool. I feel sorry for Fulham. I think Liverpool going to destroy them. They'll just be peppering.
Yeah, I think Fulham's probably down there a bit with Sheffield United, in my opinion. They just, I think a lot of people have said that the worst promoted side that they've ever seen, like squad wise, and I don't think it's necessarily true, but yeah, they just haven't really done much. It's going to be a Liverpool win, got to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, oh God, here we go. Arsenal versus Burnley.
That's going to be a riveting game.
Absolutely. We're full of attack, aren't we? Apparently now it's all about crosses. Yeah, we've had loads of crosses. But we're not creating chances. It all boils down to we're not creating chances. We're not shooting enough. Frustrating to watch. You know what Burnley will do? Counter-attack. They like to defend. So crosses are going to count for nothing, and them centre-backs will be love it. Burnley love that.
If Aubameyang doesn't come out and do something at the weekend, that's going to be a tight game. It's going to be tough, really, really tough. Yeah, I really don't know what to say on that. If I'm honest, it's going to be. I don't really know what's going to happen there at all.
I think Thomas...
Did Burnley just do it the weekend as well, didn't he?
Yes. And then Thomas Partey's groin injury as well, so he's not going to play.
Yeah.
And he seems... That's why we bought him, a key player.
Yeah.
Control the
Well,
midfield.
obviously, I've watched him for 5 years now, when he was at Atletico, so I know what he's capable of. And unfortunately, just the way things are with, obviously, the club at the moment, and he just hasn't been able to show it, and now he's injured again. So it's going to be a nightmare. Obviously, the whole Arteta pushing him back on the pitch when he was injured and Tottenham counter-attacking was a bit, wasn't a good look, obviously, for either of them. But, yeah, it's going to be a struggle against Burnley, if I'm honest.
I can see, though, like, with the Tottenham game, Arsenal played poor first half. Second half, Arsenal played a lot better, had all the possession, but they just weren't making the chance. So it's going to be like that. It's just going to be trying to pick away through them banks, them two lines. I've seen it before, and it's a frustrating game to watch. I think
it's going to be one of them games where like one fluke, like lucky goal wins
deflected.
it, I think. Yeah.
A deflection. I'm hoping a deflection. 1-0 to the Arsenal. Bring back the old 1-0 win. I tell you what, I'll take it right now. I really will.
You would. You need to take it, I think, at the moment.
Massively. Need to get some confidence in them players. I think Arteta's done well with them, but obviously not getting the results. And we need that confidence in there so he can crack on again, basically.
Definitely.
So, yeah, we'll move off of that one. And then we go on to last game, Leicester versus Brighton. What's going on with Leicester at the moment, really?
I don't know, because again, they started off really, really well. They've had some really decent form. Obviously, they're top half of the table. I don't know if they're like third or fourth or something at the moment. They're looking really decent, but they've had some dodgy results as well. And that you need this year if you're going to be, title challenging. You really, really, really need to be consistent because the league is so up and down. If you're consistent, you're gonna run away with it basically. So, yeah, but again, Brighton, the only really decent players in Brighton's squad is like Lamptey and Bissouma. So I can't really see them doing much against Leicester, especially if Vardy and whoever else is on form. I mean, Perez scored at the weekend, which was insane because we haven't seen him for months. So yeah, I think it's a Leicester win for me.
I think for Leicester, I think that Cengiz Under is a good player, but even he
Yeah,
didn't turn up last game, really. Vardy got the late goal. I called it. I said never underestimate him. There's a lot of doubt around him, and I said he could strike in the last minute, and that's exactly what he did.
yeah,
So I don't know how I see this game. I think Brighton will think, do you know what? We'll go at them, and Leicester will think exactly the same. It'll just be counter to counter, constant.
yeah.
I really do think. Mapai should be back, shouldn't he? For Brighton.
Oh yes.
Where is Welbeck? Did he pick an injury up, or is he fine? I think he just got roughed up a bit last game.
Yeah, yeah. I think they said something about his thigh, but I don't think it was like a long-term thing or anything.
So I'd just based on form, I suppose, I'd go with Brighton to nick it, or it could be a draw. I'm gonna go.
Yeah, I can't see that. That's not impossible. I think it could go either way, that game. To be honest, I just want Leicester to win because I've got Vardy.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I join you on that one. We need Vardy to perform, get the points. So we'll just check some questions from the chat if there is any. But Nuclear saying Aubameyang has no service and that's the main issue. Yeah, that's very true. Migtay was saying he doesn't have the confidence either. Had a chance for a first-time shot from the left corner of the box. Would have killed in last season. This time he started done a poor feed. Do you know what, Mig? That sums it up. I think he had Alderweireld going back, walking backwards, and normal Aubameyang. You saw the finishes twice. I'm talking about Arsenal again, by the way. You saw the finishes twice where he'd go that way, he'd cut in, and he'd just whip it into that far corner. Done that twice, and it's sort of a signature strike for him. Yeah. Done it to Alderweireld, just stood him up nicely and didn't let him. He didn't go that way. You know, if he was full of confidence, he'd be doing that all day. That's what he does. Didn't do it, piddled out to nothing. So there's definitely needs confidence in there, Mig. You're right, absolutely. Nuclear saying this is where they flood the comments because they don't want the stream to end. I just don't understand Brendan Rodgers' new tactics. He's just making them do some overlapping crosses, hoping for the best. Yeah, agreed. I don't know quite what's going on with Leicester there. Mig Taylor saying Wilf was the highest scoring player this week. Which out there player will score the highest this week? I think, does he mean different? Do you mean differential, Mig? What sort of an out there pick? Is that what you meant? Vardy's stats. No E in there, buddy. Were awful, but because of that goal, he paved over the cracks. Yeah, I love that as well. I love how many people say paved over the cracks as well on social media. It's brilliant. I love that term. Yeah, they've got a lot of cracks to fill in, absolutely. They need to find their form again. So, guys, anyway, thank you for joining us, Kendall, on the show. It's lovely having you.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
That's all right. Hive of information. It's nice to see every different FPL manager's tactics. And if you like the video, guys, give a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Follow Kendall Rowan as well over on Twitter. See her tag.